Hello everyone, it's Karen and welcome to the first day of Vlogmas. I have been excited about Vlogmas for so long. What I thought I would do today is just do a little chat with what I'm planning to read this month. And I basically made a little list every single day of things that I could potentially talk about so that I didn't resort to opening my mail on camera, which I have done previous years when I had literally nothing to film. However, today I actually have fun mail. So we are going to check out my mail. I'll tell you what I'm going to read this month. And then I'm just going to get cozy, watch Vlogmas myself. And in just a short amount of time, I am going to be going to America's tallest singing Christmas tree. You know that was a thing that you needed. On the web. You knew that was a thing that you needed to see on here. So you can come with me. But anyway, for mail today, basically I needed a new wall calendar, and so I ordered one from this company called One Canoe 2, and it is a really interesting shape. Like, it's super long, and yeah, it came today. These are some of the pictures. So I think it's super cute. I like this kind of like cozy. This isn't super whimsical, but it has a slightly whimsical edge to it. I think it will be a really nice calendar. So there's that. Then this needs a whole separate video by itself. But I found this book and it was recommended by, I think her name is Eyes on Indie, but I will link her below. Her review of this book was just beyond incredible. If a book is 5 stars, I typically try to add it to my collection because I loved it so much and it belongs as part of our family of books. However, I also realized that once the author started talking, I had been to his bookstore. It was written by an independent bookseller and I had been there. So I had to order the book and I had to order it signed from his bookstore because I had been there years ago. So this arrived in the mail. I'm gonna open it, but he included a little postcard. I don't know if he wrote anything on it or if it's blank. Oh, just thank you. That's sweet. But yeah, it's Porter Square Books. They have 2 locations. One is in Boston and one's in Cambridge. And I am pretty sure that Cambridge is the one I went to. But anyway. Cool. Okay. And then how nicely wrapped this is in recyclable paper. Ah! I like know what it is and I'm so excited. Yeah, I was right. Josh Cook. So it's called The Art of Libromancy. And this, I'm not doing a review of right now because I have pages of notes and it's going to be this whole thing. But essentially, if I can just like, you know, whet your appetite a bit. This is written by an independent bookseller and it is about publishing. It's about reading. It is about being someone who loves books in today's society and about how to basically advocate for the stories that need to be heard. And, you know, as a content creator, as a reader, whatever, how can you elevate those voices that need to be heard? And how there's often like, you think about literary prizes or bestsellers or whatever, it's like because something wins a literary prize, then more people read it and then it becomes more popular. And it's like this endless cycle where the same books are being talked about all the time. And there's really good quality books by that are published by independent presses, that are published by authors people haven't heard of, that are published by just marginalized groups, people that are in marginalized groups. Maybe they're not published in English initially, like maybe they're translated. And so it's a lot about that, and it has completely changed like how I want to read going forward. So that'll be a video for a different day. I'm not sure what day, but this book was amazing. Like if you have, oh, hang on, there's a note on the inside. If you have like in your mind, like maybe like you're starting to think about what your top books of the year would be, just like tack this one on like real quick. Just like read it real quick in December because I guarantee it'll like change. Okay, so oh my gosh. So there's a postcard on the inside with a little note. Hi Karen, thank you so much for your messages. You put these ideas on there and all you can do, thank you so much for your messages. You put these ideas out there and all you can do is hope that it's really something when someone lets you know thank you for reading. I'm gonna have to translate this later, but that is so kind. Oh my gosh, so kind. And then not only that, but I got a little bookmark. To Karen, here's to good books and great bookstores. Thank you, Josh Cook. So yeah, this is going on my shelf and it will be the topic of a video later. Okay, so let's change the camera view a little bit because I want to talk about what I'm going to read in December. All right, everyone, I'm back by my book cart now. So I want to talk about what I'm going to read this month. So the main thing for this month, it is Remember December. And basically, Anne from Anne Novella messaged me a few months ago and asked if I would be interested in participating with her. And I was like, yes, of course. But you guys know I'm a mood reader. So I have some things that I will talk about that are part of Remember December. But then I thought of a better idea this morning when I was reading this picture book. So Remember December is basically where you just spend time rereading books that you have read before and either loved or you read before and didn't like and maybe you want to try again. I believe there are prompts, but I'm too much of a mood reader to live that kind of life, so I'm just doing my own thing. The problem is, even though I said I would do this, I am super excited about all the new books I have. And so what I basically decided after having the coziest time this morning reading this book, I decided that I would focus on picture books and try and read a picture book every morning before I go to work because they take like 5 minutes and it's just the coziest way to start your day. This is the book I read today. It was not a reread, but the ones in the future will be. If you guys haven't read this, it is adorable. The Little Ghost Who Was a Quilt, written by Riel, Nason, and illustrated by Byron Eggenschwiler. This is a book about a ghost who is a quilt instead of being a sheet. And it's about like basically all the ways he feels he doesn't fit in. Like all his friends can like disappear in the trees and pretend to be decorations while kids are trick-or-treating. And like he can't, like he's a freaking quilt. He just doesn't fit in and all this stuff. Well, I don't want to give away spoilers, but it is also a children's book. He ends up trying to get in on the trick-or-treating action and ends up just throwing himself over the railing of this home. He meant to be on the porch. There was like a chair on the porch he wanted to be on, but people were coming. He didn't want to be seen. So this was like as far as he could get before kids would come. And something really amazing happens to him as a result of this choice to just like throw himself on a railing just to be able to witness trick-or-treating. And it is so cozy and so comforting. And even though it's a Halloween story, I feel like it has the cozy vibes that we are desiring this time of year. And it's a book that is just as amazing for children as it is for just as cozy for children as it is for adults, so I would highly recommend this one. So now, what I want to read for December. So some of these were thought of when I considered Remember December, but other ones just kind of came as I went on through the month of November. And basically, there kind of seems to be a theme in December of a lot of like fiction and nonfiction pairings. So I'm going to go with that and just show you what I have, but like keep in mind, I'm a mood reader. I read what I want. I might read none of these. I don't know. Okay. So the first book is Homegoing by Ya Jessie. This will be a reread for me if I do get to it this month. And essentially in November, I was lucky enough to be able to meet Ya Jessie, which was incredible. And because of that, I kind of want to revisit this book and reread it now that I've met her. I've read her other book as well, but this one to me seems more complex, more nuanced, and just more worthy of a reread, even though I loved her other book as well. Like both of these are very, very good. But with that being said, so this would be like a reread for Remember December. But when I was there, my question for her, which I should see if the YouTube video is online, but anyway, my question for her was, who is an author whose works you feel like are not popular enough, they're not as well known, and aren't as appreciated as they should be? And that, like, I think I worded it more eloquently, I hope, but that kind of took her aback for a second because she realized the value in that question, but she also couldn't think of an answer like on the spot. And the one person she did say was Jesmyn Ward. And she is like, I realized that this is like not a good answer now because now everybody knows who Jesmyn Ward was. But basically, she was like an early reader of Jesmyn Ward and realized her talent like very early on and was like, why is no one talking about this woman? Like, she's amazing. And this was the book that she specifically mentioned. And I don't think I've read this before. So what I wanted to do is reread Homegoing and then read Salvage the Bones by Jesmyn Ward, just because they're in conversation a little bit in the sense that, yeah, Jessie recommended this one. Sorry, my heater just kicked on, so we'll see how loud it gets. And then, in addition, I have Jesmyn Ward's newest book, so I'm also interested in reading that. So all these are kind of in conversation, but I still have one more. This is something that was mentioned during Ya Jessie's talk, and it's Slavery by Another Name, the Re-Enslavement of Black Americans from the Civil War to World War II. And I think that this will just be not necessarily mind-blowing, because I think we know that like slavery 2.0 is going on like right now in like America's prisons, but I think that this will be very insightful and I'll learn a lot from here. And like if Ya Jessie gives me a recommendation, I'm gonna pay attention to it. It is quite tiny print, so it might be, you know, something that's a slow ongoing read. Then we have another one. So one of my favorite books of all time. I had to list my top 10 of all time. This might be in here. And it is The Last Thing You Surrender by Leonard Pitts Jr. Nobody reads Leonard Pitts Jr. Nobody. Well, some people do, but he's super underhyped. This book, it's basically the black story of World War II, a story of World War II that we rarely hear about. And it is both literary and fast-paced. It starts off with a bang, with a ship being bombed and this guy trying to escape it. And it's like so fast-paced. So if you're into reading books for plot, this is your guy. If you're into reading literary fiction, also your guy. So good. But because basically the reason I wanted to read this is because he is writing a sequel. I think he already wrote it, and I'm pretty sure it's probably in the editing process. And I imagine it would come out in 2024, but I'm not sure. So I want to reread this so it's fresh in my mind. But there's another nonfiction book that I thought would pair well with it, and that is Half American, the epic story of African Americans fighting World War II at home and abroad. So it seems like fiction, nonfiction, perfect pairing. Okay, great. Now, I have two more kind of topics of interest right now. And one is this war in Palestine. You can't even call it a war, right? Like, it's like a genocide. It's not okay. Okay? It's not okay. So, I don't know that much about it. Other than that, I don't like babies being killed. So, my friend Bree from Brandywine Books has been talking about this book, and I've also seen this around because I think a lot of us on BookTube are trying to become more educated, and it is called The 100 Years War on Palestine. And so it will basically help me figure out what the heck is going on and understand it a bit better. And then I have two fiction books that also take place in Palestine. So one has been talked about a lot all of a sudden, and it's just a shorty called Minor Detail. And I believe this is about like how there's already some crisis going on in Palestine. And then this woman is living in Palestine, and she has her own like personal crisis. Like, I think that there's a sexual assault or something on her. And so I think that I have heard this is super moving, super powerful, and super like gut wrenching too. So like, I think that kind of juxtaposition of like this big conflict and then this more personal situation that happens will be super interesting, but we'll see. This is by an indie publisher. And then this one I think is also by an indie publisher. I would have to look at it more. I don't know too much about this, except that I believe it's about Hamlet, but being done in Palestine. So we will see, because I don't want to read too much about it. But anyway, yeah, I thought that it would be good just to read fiction from Palestine as well as to learn more about the situation. And then finally, so we've talked about Josh Cook's book and how obsessed I am with that. That really got me thinking a lot more about supporting indie publishers, supporting authors that are published by indie publishers, and basically this whole mind-morphing, mind-changing situation happened. He has changed my life. And so I'm going to talk about that more soon. But just some books that I want to kind of get to kind of keep studying about this whole situation. One is Naomi Klein's This Changes Everything, which is about capitalism and the climate, because no, capitalism is horrible. And I also know how deeply entrenched it is in my life and how I need to improve myself. So there's that. And then the next two books I actually got from following Josh Cook's Instagram, because he has really good recommendations on there. One is from the Field Notes thing that I think I may have read other books by these two, but anyway. And this is Casey Plett's On Community. And community is something that I've been thinking about lately with my role on the library board, and also just reflecting on me personally and how I contribute to our community. So I think that this will be a really not quick, short, but like in-depth look into what changes do I want to make in my life to be a better member of our community and to just like really use our community more. And then finally, how to protect bookstores and why. This is by Danny Kane, who also wrote the book How to Resist Amazon and Why, which changed my life because I have tried for a long time to resist Amazon and to buy indie and all that sort of stuff. But in his book, and also in Josh Cook's book, when you hear like actual things that have happened at Amazon, it is horrible. Josh Cook in his book, he talked about how there was a tornado warning and people were still told they had to come to work or they would get fired. And that's a really tricky situation to be put in because obviously, like, if you do not go to work and you lose your job, you know, and like, seriously, what are the chances that a tornado is actually going to hit? Well, the tornado did hit and it killed like a bunch of people, like 7, 9, I don't remember. But what a horrible situation to be put in. And then I don't think that Amazon did anything regarding their deaths, but I don't know. I'm going to have to look back on my notes. Anyway, these are my plans for December, which you guys all know me. And you know I'm not getting into hardly any of these. But I have good ambitions. And I'm really genuinely so interested in all of these. Like, that's the problem, right? So much time, so many books, so little time is what I meant to say. So I'm going to eat dinner and watch cozy videos, and then stay tuned for America's tallest singing Christmas tree.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar. Heavenly hosts singing hallelujah.
Oh my gosh, that was the most incredible thing I ever saw. Like, I would say if you live like 2 or 3 hours away from me, you should make the trip next year. It was so amazing. So it started with the orchestra and the tree was empty, but the tree is like 65 feet tall. So I tried to show you like what it looked like in the beginning. And so the orchestra played and they're fine. But then all the choir kids are like not yet in the tree. So they come out with candles and they like surround the entire audience, like down all the aisles in front and back. And so you're just surrounded with like over 200 voices just singing like all around you, surround sound. It was amazing. And then I think it was after that. Then, or maybe it was before that. Anyway, they had where just music was playing, and then the tree was like a performance itself with the lights going up and down and all that stuff, like in sync with the music. It was absolutely incredible. And then the kids like went up on the tree, which took like 4 songs because there's like over 200 of them. So there was like some distracting songs while everyone was getting onto the tree. And then they sang like loads and loads of songs, and it wasn't just Christian ones. It was mostly Christian ones, but they also had a Hanukkah song, which is my favorite because I have the fiddle, and some that sounded like they were from Africa. Like, it was incredible. So amazing, so majestic, absolutely amazing. So I feel this has been a pretty successful first day of Vlogmas, and I will see you tomorrow. I am so excited. I'm going to a Christmas market, hanging out with my mom, and I'm excited for you guys to hang out with me.